Sorry.
No, you can do that. I was just waiting for you to stop making noise.
Oh.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is what you did last time. Hello, everyone. My name is Jake, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I got my roommate back. Brooke is her name. We're going to be wrapping up our last video in which we each chose a TBR for each other. So we each chose 5 books for each other to read. We've read them. Well, we've read most of them. And yeah, I'm going to link the video down below so you guys can go watch that before you watch this. It's fun, I guess, probably, maybe, who knows. Just go watch it. So we're just going to talk about the 5 books that we read. Right? Yeah, 5 books that we read. Oh, also, we fucking went to paintball, so I'm not, she doesn't beat me. That's not why I have bruises all up my arm. We went to paintball before this. Anyways, we're just going to jump into it, and she's going to begin by telling us about her failures. Go on. You have to hold the 2 books.
Oh, okay. Hi, I didn't read these 2, and I know this is Mayana's favorite, and this is Jake's favorite, so they probably both hate me.
These are the only 2 books that I rated 5 stars out of all the ones I chose you, and they're the only 2 you didn't read. But
let me tell you, I think I read 2 chapters of this one, and I thought it was too difficult, so I put it down and never picked it back up. And I think I read a page of this one and was like, nope, not for me. Plus, you tell me about this book and you say their names and you think I can read those names?
Jude, Carden, they're not hard names.
I messed up on easy names. I can't read.
I'm gonna give her a little leniency here because these are both of the like urban fantasies that I chose. So she doesn't read a lot, so she's not used to that type of world. So I get why she didn't read those 2.
I made an attempt.
She did, kind of.
In my standards. So.
You made an attempt, I guess, kind of, maybe a little bit.
This one I might come to. Like, this one, the first 2 chapters, I was like, difficult, but like, if I really needed an afternoon to read, maybe. This one, no.
You can try audiobooks, too, while you're at work. Listen to it.
See, I think I do that.
See, I'll give you my script information. That's for another day. But,
yeah.
So that's that. Oh, I also didn't mention that we're going in order of, like, our lowest rated books up to our highest rated books. The book that I rated the lowest out of the 5 she chose for me was My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I had a feeling I wasn't going to be a huge fan of this book. People talk so highly of the authors that write this book, and people talk so highly of, what's the other one called? My Lady Jane, that I was like, this one sounds more interesting to me. My Lady Jane never sounded interesting. This one's about, like, ghosts and retelling the Jane Eyre, so I was like, maybe I'll stand this. I didn't. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. I honestly, out of the 5 books, remember the least from this one just because I really didn't care about it. I read it on audio, and I didn't really care for any of the characters, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say because I honestly remember, like, nothing of it. But I can tell you I'm unhauling it, so this is gonna, you know, go over there, but yeah.
No Exit by Taylor Adams. That's an easy
Standing
name.
in front of me, bitch.
I'm better. Anywho, oh, it's falling. Don't like this book. Well, it wasn't bad. I like the plot. I don't think they did it well, in my opinion. I gotta remember what happened, because when did we film this last video?
We filmed the last one, I think, beginning of September, end of August.
I was a good person right when we filmed it. That first week, read all 3.
She was reading like a book a day, and then she burnt herself out.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the 3rd book I read, the last one out of the 3.
It is the last one.
So what's the plot? I think a girl's on a road trip, and then she stops at a gas station, and she figures out that there's a girl trapped in a car, and it's during a blizzard, so the roads are all stuck, so she's stuck at this gas station with, like, I think, people. I don't know how many, I don't remember how many people.
4 other people.
4 other people, and she has to figure out whose car is this, how to get the girl out without, like, getting found out. And first of all, the way she did it was messy, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
Like, the way she handled it was messy. I like the plot. I didn't like how they handle it, and the twists kind of bore me. They were like, ooh, but I'm like, ugh.
The twists were I feel like it was more so like a action thriller than like a twisty thriller.
I feel like it was the same plot, but it was done in a different way. I would enjoy it.
This would have been a good movie.
This would have been a really good movie. Or a TV show.
No Exit by Taylor Adams.
No Exit.
I'm going to be going through your parts. The plot.
The
ASMR going on.
I didn't rate my last book. I gave No Exit my rating of... The fuck did I give it? I think I gave it like a 2 or 2.5.
I think you said a 2 to me.
I got 2. Mm-hmm. My rating for No Exit was 2.
Next up, I'm going to talk about The Dead House by Don Kurtagich. This I gave a 2.5 out of 5 stars. To me, there's a big difference between a 2 and a 2.5. A 2.5 is very middle of the road to me, like blah, like it was okay. While a 2 is like bad. So there's that piece of information that I feel is useful. But this follows a girl. She kind of has two different like personalities, but it's not like a split personality type situation. As far as this book makes it seem, it's actually she has like two people like in the same body. During the nighttime, our main character lives, and during the daytime, her twin sister, who's her too, exists. So basically, they're only there for like 12 hours each day. And there's a story about this like dorm building at their school gets burnt down. And that's all I'm really going to say, because I feel like if you're going to read this, go into it as blind as possible. This just kind of follows like up to that point, like what happened and all these, like there's a lot of death. It's crazy. But I give it 2.5. I didn't really care for this one that much. The only difference between this one and the last one is I'm going to keep this one because there's supposed to be more in the series, but this came out a long time ago, so I don't know if there's actually going to be any more. But if there is, I guess I'll read it, because this wasn't absolutely terrible, and it was definitely better in the second half than the first half. But yeah, I give it a 2.5. That explanation was absolutely terrible. We're gonna go with it.
I feel like if I had to read that book, I'd be lost, like in the first, like the
Bitch,
second.
I was
It was literally
lost.
like, okay, here's a personality, but it's the same person, but they're also twins.
It's
I've
like
been,
mixed media.
See, it's
They have different
I call
names.
that
They do
pretty.
have different names. Carly and Caitlin.
Do they tell you who's is who in the
Yeah,
beginning
well,
of the chapter?
Caitlin's, the whole thing comes from Caitlin's perspective. Diary of Caitlin.
Unprofessional on set. Huh. That's good. Thank you for the tea. I love you. Have a good night. See you tonight. Kisses. Bye. So my next book is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. See, that name Sean fucks me up. This book is this is the book that Jacob thinks is about us, like our friendship, right? And I liked the plot of it. I liked the way they did it. I think some moments I felt was dragged on. Oh, the plot was. And boy, I don't know what was his name.
Dino.
Dino. I called him Dino. He works, his family's like morticians or whatever, so they do the makeup. And his best friend died, and he goes to do the makeup for the best friend, and she wakes the fuck up. And that's the plot is like, oh my god, you wake up, you're supposed to be dead, what are we supposed to do? And they figure this shit out. So, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna be like, what if you have to cut me cursing? Oh shit. But, I like it. There's other aspects of the story, like, there's a boyfriend, like, aspect, and I'm just like, ugh.
The boyfriend's trans, so there's trans representation in there.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like the boyfriend aspect was kind of like a side story that didn't need to be, like, there. It kind of took away from it. I know they were trying to add to it with it, because they had, like, a conflict between the friends with the boyfriend, but, like, I feel like the whole story together, it just kind of, like, took away from it. I would have liked it better if it was just them two the entire time, just, like, let's figure out our struggles together, but it wasn't bad. What'd I give it? I think I gave it a 3. No, I think I gave this one the 2.5. That was my review. Next one.
I'm going to talk about 2 books now, just because she didn't read 2 of them, so, like, it's uneven. So we'll talk about our favorites at the end. But anyways, next up, she chose Wicked Fox by Kat Cho for me. This basically follows a girl, I think they're called a Gumiho. It's a nine-tailed fox,
Gumiho?
Let me make sure.
You said it so
A Gumiho,
confident.
yeah. Gumiho are I think I'm saying that right. If not, yell at me in the comments. But Gumiho is supposed to be like a nine-tailed fox that can transform into a person. So that's our main character, this queen right here. And she meets this guy who basically saves her life, or she saves his life, one or the other. If their story comes together, they kind of have this relationship, and she basically has to kind of decide, does she want to save herself or save him? That's all I'm going to really say about it. But I gave this one, originally I gave it a 4 out of 5 star, but I'm changing it to a 3.5 out of 5 star because it kind of bored me for a lot of it. But overall, like, it was a very interesting story. I really like the aspect of her and her mother, because her mother hates humans, kind of like despises the fact that she even has anything to do with a human. And their relationship's really interesting throughout the book, especially at the end. But my only problem with this is I really didn't like the main male character. he kind of got on my nerves a lot, and their relationship got on my nerves a lot because the way they treated each other a lot of the time was kind of like sketch, but whatever, it happened. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I also listened to this one on audio. I will probably continue the series, but like, look at this cover. It's so beautiful.
That's why I picked it, because it was cute.
I love it. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. The other book I'm going to be talking about is also a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The Wicked Will Rise by Danielle Page. This is the second book in the Dorothy This is the second book in the
Speak?
I was about to nail it that time, but then you
weren't.
fucked me up. This is the second book in the Dorothy Must Die series. And that series, for those that don't know, basically follows a world in which Oz has been taken over by Dorothy. She's kind of the dictator. Anyone that goes against her gets killed, and our main character, Amy Gunn, ends up in Oz. She's also from Kansas. Same situation as Dorothy originally, but like she's a good guy, you know. So she basically has to take care of Dorothy, like murk her ass, and that's basically what this follows. This is the second book, so I can't talk about like what happens in this book specifically, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first one. The first one I actually read like 4 years ago, and I gave 5 stars. To be honest with you, I don't think I would have gave it 5 stars if I read it nowadays. I think it was just my reading tastes. Goddamn. Heartburn. I think it was just my reading taste back then that made me give it 5 stars. I still enjoyed this, don't get me wrong. But my issues with it were basically the fact that I feel like this is on the lower end of YA, maybe even like I would say middle grade. Like that's how it reads, is as a middle grade, but the stuff that happens in this book is definitely YA. So I'm not a huge fan of Danielle Page's writing, but like I also don't hate it. It's fine, very simple, whatever. This was very fast. I think I read it in like a few hours. And yeah, I'm definitely going to continue the series because the plot really interests me. It's just the way it's written isn't my favorite, but overall, I enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5. I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Wicked Fox, hence why I'm talking about it after Wicked Fox. But yeah. So now we're both going to talk about our favorite books out of the bunch, which I believe we both gave our favorite book out of the 5 4 stars. You gave 4 stars, right?
I think so,
Yeah, so we both gave our favorite book 4 stars. No 5-star books in this video, unfortunately, but I don't think anything involving words she'd give a 5-star regardless, so I'm happy she even read a 4-star.
I'll give a book a 5-star, but it's a book I read in the past.
What book?
I think it's The Giver. I love that book. And when they came out with the movie a year later, I was like, oh, my favorite book.
Why do you always step in front of me when you do
it?
You're always like, so.
My favorite book out of the 5 is The Selection by Kira Cass. Nailed it. I read this book first, I think. I don't know if I liked it best because I read it first. I might be biased. But I did like it. The plot of this book is I don't know what to call it. It's like a country or a nation, whatever, where
just a dystopian
it's
it's a country.
It's dystopian, a country where it's a caste system or whatever, and the prince of like whatever, the prince, okay. They do a competition to find a wife. So they do like a competition through all the casting. 35 girls. They bring them to the palace, and it's like a competition to see who's going to marry the prince, right? Main character, America, like, I have a problem with that name. Just saying. But I like her nickname, Mare. America! She's the main character, and you follow her story with her and the prince, and how it all goes down. This is the first book of a series. There's 3 other books.
2 other books.
2 other books.
Well,
3 in total.
There's like more after it. That's like a secondary trilogy. That's technically part of the series, but we don't talk about those. Go on.
We don't know her. Anywho, when I told Jacob I wasn't going to read the other 2 books, The Cruel Prince and The Devouring Grey, he allowed me to read the other 2. I'm reading The Elite right now. Gotta say, this is better than The Elite. Just saying. But the series itself, I think, is not bad. But I like this book a lot. I gave it a 4. Do you have any problems with this book at all? Thanks.
Don't you not like the other guy character that's not Maxon?
I don't like the other guy character, but it wasn't that much in this book. But in The Elite, it's too much back and forth for me. But so that's my review on this book.
You only have like what 50 pages left of the Elite.
Yeah, I sped through that and then I just gave up.
She's like knocking it out. So
I
eventually she'll
myself out.
finish. Yeah, that's why you don't do that. We can have reading days that you never actually have with me.
Okay, if I sit there and read for 20 minutes, like just sipping tea with you, then I get bored and fall asleep and take a nap. And I'd rather just speed through it and get it over with.
I'm going to release you from your contract of having to read the rest of that trilogy because I feel like you're suffering.
No. I mean, I'm suffering, but you just can't release me.
My favorite books out of the 5 she chose for me, well, my favorite book, did I say books? Yeah.
Yep.
Is The Final Six by Alexandra Monier. I actually just finished this, like, the day before yesterday. I liked her. I gave her a 4 out of 5 star, like I said before. This basically follows a competition. The world is kind of taken over by climate change. So there's all these tsunamis happening. There's all this shit happening where basically a large percentage of the world is dead because of natural disasters. And there's this space mission to go to a country called Europa, I believe. Yeah, it's called Europa. And it's one of Jupiter's moons or Mars's moons. Jupiter's moons, I believe. It's a moon of a different planet. But basically, they choose 24 teenagers from all around the world to train at this like space camp, and basically out of those 24, they're going to choose 6 to go up to this moon and try to inhabit it. So we follow 2 main characters, so this is a split point of view book. We follow Leo, who's from Italy, and then we follow Naomi, who's from the US. And Leo, his whole family died in a tsunami, so he wants to get the fuck out of here. He's ready to go up into that planet. And Naomi is the opposite. Like, she wants to stay with her family. Her brother has a heart condition, so she doesn't want to leave them. And she's also, like, super smart. So she's like, bitch, we're going to die up there. So it's interesting, like, with our 2 main characters. One really wants to go, one doesn't want to go. And I love any book that's about a competition. Like, Nixia, which is, like, one of my all-time favorite books, is actually also about a space competition about going up to a different planet. And I stand that book. That's actually, I enjoy better than this. But I feel like if I read this before Nixia, I'd probably enjoy this one more. So I guess it completely depends what you read first. But I think I enjoy Nixia more regardless. But besides the point, I really enjoyed all the characters in this. It was interesting seeing all these different characters from different countries and like hearing their backstories, like about their families. And this was like very parallel to where we're at today. Like, obviously climate change is going to wipe our asses out if we don't change it. So it was good to see a book that like talked about what could happen in the future. And there's also like a president in here who's literally Trump, like this racist old guy. So
They predicted
this
it.
author does not, I think this was written during Trump's
They knew he was going to
reign.
They
Like,
knew he's going to win. Oh,
no,
when he
like
was
this
running,
was, I think this was written while he was running. This was
they're
published like
probably
the year after.
They're probably like, he's the ruler.
She's over
we're
his
fucked
shit.
Now.
Yeah, she's over his shit.
Oh, she knows
But
the doom.
so there's a lot that's talked about in this. There's race is discussed at some parts. Like, it discusses a lot of stuff that's talked about today. So very good. Like I said, I always love anything that's competition based. So I knew going into this I would at least enjoy that aspect of it. But I really liked it, and I think the sequel. This was published in like 2017, I think, maybe 2018. But the sequel isn't coming out until like May of 2020. So there's a long distance between the books, but I'm excited for the sequel. I'm glad I waited to read this now because I would probably not be interested in the sequel if I read it back when it came out, but I definitely am going to be checking out the sequel.
It sounds like a woke book.
It's pretty good. That's not like a huge part of it though. That's just like how
It
the
just
world
sounds like
got
it's
to where
woke.
it's at. It is pretty woke.
Like
It's
me.
just happening.
I'm just
But-
feeling myself right now, honestly.
But yeah, so those are the 5 books that we each read. Well, 3 books she read, 5 books I read. Let's hold them up. Let's show them. So these are the books that we read. Well, she didn't read these 2, but we're going to act like she did.
These
just for
3/5
this.
of the books
So,
I read.
here's our wrap up for all of this, and we stand. Period. Well, I'm kind of upset. Not one of us read a 5-star read. But, you know, who knows?
I told you I might read it.
That's what?
Oh, I thought you were referring to me not reading your book. I was like, damn.
No,
good
I'm
for
saying
me.
neither of us read a 5-star read.
I mean, Slim Pickens.
I plan
sorry.
on making this a series on my channel. Like, I did it with my sister in the past, but she never read anything. Did it with her. I think next up I'm going to do my brother, because his ass will actually, he reads whatever I tell him to read. So, he'll be easy to do.
He does
What?
whatever you tell him to do. He
Yes.
doesn't even read. He just like do that.
So,
Okay.
he'll actually read like all 5 books, and we have very similar reading, not me and her. Me and my brother have very similar reading tastes, so I feel like his taste is just my taste. But he likes everything I tell him to read, so I'm going to do him next. So let me know down below if that's something you guys would be interested in. I'm doing it regardless, so I don't care, because I like forcing people to read. Are you good?
He said I'm gonna do him next. My mind went funny.
Anyways, but yeah. Did you enjoy Brooke being on my channel? Like, do you like her? Do you guys want her more? We can do some, like, challenges. We can do other shit that I would have to think about. Let me down. Let me down.
Let me down. That's what I'll do is let you down.
Let me know down below, like, videos you'd like to see me do with her, because, I don't know, you like being in videos, don't you?
I think I'm just iconic in general, and like I think
So she likes being seen by the world, so let me know what you'd like to see her do next. Well, maybe we'll do it. But other than that, if you enjoyed this video, you know, like, subscribe, the works, do it all.
Do it all.
We're gonna go now. I'm gonna go eat some hot fries. So, bye!
Bye.
You got a copy. There.